Welcome back to the King Closer Reacts. I am the King Closer, RJ Bates III, and today we're going to be reacting to other people talking to live sellers. I want to see if they're closers or not. Let's get into the first video.
I was able to speak with our underwriter and kind of get an offer for you. Were you still looking to sell that property there?
I'm still open for a price on it.
Okay. So this one, the offer that we got approved was $42,000 cash.
I'm gonna turn it down because it's appraised for more than that by the tax office.
Really?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, what amount were you looking at possibly getting for the property there? Maybe I can take it back to him and see what we can do.
I will look at 60,000.
60. If we're able to cover,
I can sell it. I can put it on the market, but it's not been up for sale. But I will consider a $60,000 cash price for it.
Cash. Okay. Now, if we cover all the closing costs and realtor commissions, you don't have to pay any of that stuff. And, what would be the best you can do?
Really, I'm curious what the answer was to how he asked, hey, if we were to cover the closing costs and everything, what's the best price you can do? The video cuts off there at the end. Here's my feedback about this. This is why it's critical to ask the seller what their asking price is up front, right? If he had asked the seller, Mr. Seller, you're looking to sell this property, right? How much are you looking to get for it? He said, well, I'm looking to get 60,000. Then he could have had the conversation about condition and motivation and the occupancy and the timeline and all of that. And then if his offer really needed to be $42,000, he could have tried to educate the seller as to why, hey, if you want to sell this off market to an investor, this is why $42,000 is the price, and we're not going to be able to get up to that $60,000 number. However, when you just blindly make offers without asking a seller what their asking price is, this is a very common response, right? We didn't even know where they wanted to be. We just shot an offer of $42,000. We blamed it on the imaginary friend, the underwriter, and then it's, yeah, I'm going to reject that. I could go sell this on the market, and it's appraised for more on the tax assessed value. There's just broken pieces of the process right there. I'd rather see the asking price up front, eliminate the underwriter. I liked how he ended the call, but you should ask that when you already know the price, because then you want to ask that if you know that your price is within 10 to 20% of the seller's asking price, because that's where we can match, hey, what the seller is willing to accept to what our offer needs to be.
That's it. There's no negotiations from that point.
You know what? I was just curious. There was another company that's making almost the same offer. How would we go about with this? Because I know that after the inspections, the amounts might change. And of course, we want to go with the company that's going to offer us more.
Right.
But we don't know that until we sign a contract.
So yeah, I mean, for us, we're not the company that would ever renegotiate during the inspection period. So if we got in there and the property was like, there was something structurally crazy with it, we wouldn't ask for anything to cancel the contract. And you would just be able to go with whoever you wanted to go with. But in our contract, when we write what the offer is going to be, then that's it. There's no negotiations from that point.
Wow, that's a pretty bold statement. I'm curious. I don't know this gentleman, so I don't know if his exit strategy is the wholesale or if he's actually taking these properties down himself. And the other thing that I don't know is if he's buying these properties sight unseen. I'm assuming he's not buying the property sight unseen, because that is a very bold statement that he's making right there. We would never renegotiate. We would just terminate the contract. It's just a kind of an off-the-wall way of phrasing things to a seller if your intention is to wholesale. Because renegotiating is part of the game at times. It's not like you should do it on the majority of your contracts, but there's going to be times where an end buyer would come out and notice something that needs to be done to the property. I can think of a property that we purchased one point in time that we didn't know it had cast iron plumbing until we were doing our inspection. And when we found out it had cast iron plumbing, we had to renegotiate. Now, I wouldn't have wanted to terminate that. I just wanted to get the price correct. So it's a little bit of a odd way of doing his business if he's never willing to renegotiate. And if something were to come up during the inspection period, it's just a termination. I don't necessarily agree with that path.
Let's buy this house right now. He's asking 145. I'm going to offer him 132.9. Hey, Lee, this is Tyson with We Buy Homes Cash. Yeah. First, I want to say congratulations. The property was approved to be purchased. They've approved for closing to be in 30 days with no commissions taken out and all of the closing costs covered by us. In addition to that, we were able to get it approved for the 30-day post-possession. The only caveat to this is there would be $10,000 held by the title company in the escrow account that would be used as a security deposit of sorts.
And they don't have any wiggle room in that number? They can't get closer to 40 on that?
No, after reviewing the photos you sent me, I honestly really fought for you. The first offer came in the 120s, and I was actually able to get them up because I talked about a lot of the things that you told me about the property. That was all very helpful. This is the offer they came in at, 132.9.
Okay, so say we accept that. What do we do from that point?
You want to learn how to do this? Go ahead.
All right, so my good buddy Tyson Smith back on King Closer Reacts. I like how he presented the offer. I thought that was solid. Again, the underwriter stuff and hey, it got approved. I think we could do without, but you guys have heard me say that until I'm blue in the face. But the way that he held strong there, I think that's a good solid takeaway where he says the offer is 132.9. And the seller says, we can't come up to 140. I love how he just flat out said no. Because we have a tendency, if we're looking at our wholesale fee, and we do have a little bit of wiggle room. For example, say we know that we can dispo this for 150. Okay, he's looking at a $17,000 assignment fee, and the seller says, can you come up closer to 140? I see a lot of wholesalers give in right there. And out of fear, say, I could come up to 135, I could come up to 136, and basically just take money out of their pocket. So I do like the strength that Tyson had right there to say no, and then wait to see how the seller responds to that reaction.
How many fucking times I say you is my name?
Is this still something you were looking to sell?
Yes, 120,000 if you want it. Get 2 lots.
Okay, so 120 for both?
Both.
Okay, so 60 each?
Yeah, that's my lot. I sell them both. Yes, sir. I don't try nothing else. I won't sell it for less.
Is the other lot next door, or is it somewhere else?
It's right next door, man. There's 2 lots together. How many times am I going to tell you there's 2 lots together?
Yeah, so 70...
You keep on answering me stupid questions.
So 704, the lot next door, is owned by a Javier?
70, I don't know who the Javier is. I don't know who the hell you're talking about.
And then there is Eva on here, but it's Eva Guardero.
Listen, goodbye.
Okay, so this is an angry seller cold call. We've all been there. We've all been cussed out. It's not fun. Here is my suggestion when this happens. Address their emotion. Address the anger, right? Just sit there and say, hey, man, I'm serious about giving you 120 grand for these lots, but let's just have a conversation, all right? You don't have to call me a fucking idiot and all that. Like, you know, I got plenty of that in my life. I don't need it from you too, all right? And you kind of make them laugh, right? Use some humor, maybe lighten them up. He said at the beginning, how many fucking times do I have to tell you guys, lose my fucking number? So he's getting cold called all day, every day. He thinks that this cold caller is the same cold caller as every other one. They don't know how to differentiate between the two. So at this point in time, you have to find a way to stand out. Now, it's not going to work every time. That seller might have already made up his mind that I'm going to hang up on this guy no matter what. And 120 grand might have been a terrible deal. And maybe that's why the conversation went the way it did. But the only way that I have successfully overcome this type of reaction from a seller is by addressing it point blank and trying to get them to laugh and relax and then come and meet me at my level. Let's do a deal together. That's the only way I see it work. All right, guys, that's our episode of the King Closer Reacts. Hope you got some value out of today's episode. Make sure you give us a like. Leave me any comments down below. We'll see you next week on The King Closer Reacts.